And we are live. Hello, welcome to Boles.tv. I'm David Boles. This is BOLES.tv. In case you're watching this closed captioned and you want to know exactly where you are. It's wonderful to see you today. I'm so happy that you're here with us today. Yay! Started out rainy and cold, and now the sun is starting to shine. And that is wonderful news, because nobody wants cold weather where people stay inside and give each other these coronavirus variants. Delta appears to be more damaging to your lungs. Omicron appears to be more sticky and make you sicker faster, so choose your poison. Interesting morning so far. We have a young, live stream with subscriptions and people coming and going, and who can talk and chat and who can't talk and chat, and who can watch the video on demand and who has to subscribe, and it's all very confusing and also very exhilarating at the same time. So I saw that one of our there's artist Dora. I was just getting ready to talk about you. I saw that our friend Dora and her gifted subscription had run out. And I didn't even know I had gifted her a subscription because I was so new to this whole streaming thing and so funky. But she got a free month. So I said, hey, when the free month runs out, let me know. Well, she didn't let me know yet, but I saw that our subscriber had gone down to one, and I said, well, it can only be one person. And I checked. And it did appear to be our friend Dora. And so this is what I did, right? But this is why I'm slightly late in starting today, because I wanted to make sure I got this right. Bingo! So I set up Dora for a few extra months. And I am now the #1 gifter in my very own live stream. Now that's an accomplishment. And I'm proud of it. And it's always lovely to have our Dora here with us. There she is. Thank you, Dora. And I'm getting expiration notices for Jana NYC, who is also known as the beautiful Jana Marie. She's getting notices saying, you know, your gift subscription's running out in a month. You're going to lose access. And I said, it's impossible, because when we set her up, we got her a year. So she doesn't expire this month. She expires 1 year from now. So we're waiting to see if she's going to be disconnected and thrown out by Twitch. So far, so good. She's not been thrown out, and she just got congratulated for subscribing for 2 months in a row, which I don't understand, but maybe that's how they work it. We're new here. Everyone in the room is new. And then I noticed when I was setting up Dora today that the limit they gave me was 6 months. They wouldn't let me go for a full year. So maybe it's something in their database that gets messed up, that a year from now is too hard for them to calculate, so they want to go in 1, 3, or 6 month chunks instead, which is fine. Just as long as Jana Marie doesn't lose her remaining months of subscription that she has. It's all very confusing. But still very fun. So I am the top gifter or grifter in this live stream. It all depends on your point of view, I suppose. And this live stream is seen Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern. And on weekends, it's Jana Marie, her own show, 11 a.m. Ask a Deaf Person. And speaking of holiday gift that anyone could ever want, I've discussed it before, but I'm not going to let this go. Santa gave me Christmas shingles. And this seems to be a very common thing for people who get shingles. It happens like around the holidays, especially around Christmas time. I guess because people are under stress, under pressure, it's the end of the year. People have to pay bills. I don't know, but it's a thing, Christmas shingles. And I realized it was 6 years ago when I met my dermatologist, 78 years old now. Back then, he was 6 years younger. who set me up. And I've been with him ever since. And I said, I have this pain in my face and I can't sleep. And he said, oh, well, you have shingles. I said, what? I don't have herpes. He said, it's not that kind of herpes. It's a different kind. And he took a biopsy to make sure that it was shingles, and later on it was, and gave me medication. And said, you're in your third day. You got to start your medication today, or it's going to last for 4 months instead of 4 days or 4 weeks. And so I did. Now that's interesting. We're watching the live stream, and we're getting this purple thing. I don't know what that means. I can't see what it says. Weird. And he gave me a cream to put on my sores so they wouldn't scar too badly. I hope we're still online. It looks like we're offline. Dora, can you hear me? Dora, can you hear me? Oh, now it looks like we're back. Who knows? It's all this internet stuff. None of it makes sense. So if you are of a certain age, let's say over 50. Thank you, Dora. And you don't have a shingles vaccine, think about getting one. Because if you had chickenpox, the shingles stuff, inspiration, is inside of you. Deep inside of you, waiting to come out at the most inopportune time. And you're going to be down for at least, I would say, a week, and not feeling well. And it will only affect one side of your body. If you wonder if you have shingles and you have something here and here, that's not shingles. If you have something on this side of your body and this side of your body, hello! Thank you for the wonderful follow. This side of your body and this side of your body, not shingles. It is on one side of your body only. And it has a very specific look. And if you're daring, go look up shingles on the internet and look for photographs, and you won't ever want to see it on your body. It's very painful, and it's weepy and seepy. And as I said before, I had it on my face, which made it slightly hard to sleep, but I was lucky I didn't have it on my body, where your shirt rubs against it all day. Those people are in a lot of pain. Speaking of vaccines, here we go again. Israel is now saying, you know what? 3 shots is not enough for this COVID thing. It's ongoing. You got to get a 4th booster. And I am all for 4th boosters. I will take 10 boosters. Did you read about the guy yesterday who got vaccinated 10 times in one day in New Zealand, I believe? And they think, oh, he really wants to be healthy. And people said, no, 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 that's very, very dangerous. And then they figured out why he was doing it. There's Dora. Do people have reactions to the shingle shot? Just asking for a friend. I do not believe there are side effects to the shingles shot. I don't believe I had any. Nothing like the COVID vaccine. Remember, it's very painless. Side effects: headache, redness, pain, swelling, itching, warmth at the injection site, fatigue. Side effects can carry on for a few days. Nothing compared to the real shingles. So this guy in New Zealand, it turns out he was going around and getting paid by people who did not want to get vaccinated. They would give them their ID, and he would go to different places and get vaccinated in their name, and then get paid for it by them, give them back their vaccination card, then he'd go to another person, take their ID, go get a new vaccine. 10 times in one day. That's a little over-vaccinated, I think. That's some trouble that's brewing. I don't understand it. So here's the story from Israel. And I'm going to play you this little 1-minute piece from Reuters, because we're allowed to, because we signed up as an affiliate. But I'm not playing the audio part, because there's always music, and you always get in trouble if you play music on a live stream. But it's open captioned. So all kinds of the fourth shot was recommended. In Israel, it's great news. It'll help us overcome Omicron that is spreading around the world. Israel's announcement comes as the country confirmed the first known death from the Omicron variant. A man in his 60s died on Monday, 2 weeks after he was admitted to the COVID ward. Now that's suffering. Pre-existing conditions. They have 340 cases of Omicron. They're blocking entry into Israel to try to curb the spread of the virus. Remote working. 50% attendance to the office. The military's home front command is prepared for the eventuality of 5,000 new cases a day. Oh boy. Yeah. So that's what's coming for us here in the United States. And those of us who are paying attention know it, and we're ready for it. Harvard University is leading the way, saying January at least, all classes are going to be online. Columbia and NYU have not yet followed suit. They're watching it closely. However, NYU has said that the J term, the winter term, all those terms between now and January are all going to be online. But they won't say that for the spring semester because the students will revolt. But I don't know why they want to be in class to infect each other. And because they've got to get them at least on campus. Like they did when this started. For at least, let's say, a month. To collect all their dorm fees and all their in-person fees. And then they can send them home and not give them a refund. Which is what many of these schools did when the whole thing first started. It's a bit of a racket. But what are you going to do? So when this news from Israel first came out during the summer, where Israel said get a third shot if you're over 60, and both Jen and I were like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Yeah, people have to make a living. Sure, I admit. I think all classes should be online, and I know they're not going to do that. The schools are too terrified to do it, to try it. But I don't think they're going to have a choice. This thing's going to explode in 3 weeks. Now, we're not going to go on lockdown again. But people can work remotely from work. I would say let them. Young kids, very hard. Thank you, Dora. Young kids have a very hard time being at home because a parent needs to be with them. They want to be with their peers. College kids spend a lot of their life online anyway. I don't see what the big deal is learning remotely. I think it's much, much, much safer. But some students, you know, why am I spending $80,000 to go to an Ivy League school when I can sit home and just go to a regular school and pay 10% of that? So I understand that a lot of these schools, the experience is on campus. The social life. So that's going to be a big challenge moving forward. Now, I don't know how soon we're going to be able to get the fourth vaccine here. It was mentioned today on the news, and the official response from Washington was like, oh, well, why? We don't need a fourth vaccine. Which is exactly what they said last August. And then a couple of weeks later, they said, well, if you're over 60 or you have health problems, well, I guess you could go, I suppose, and get a third shot. So Janet, Marie, and I are hoping that we will get that okay somehow and get our fourth shot, because they say that these boosters last about 3 months. Okay, so we got boosted end of August. Now I'm not good at counting. August, you don't count the first month. August, September, October, November. November is our third month. December is our fourth month. We're going into January, which is 5. And most people, I don't know why, have been getting boosted in the last month. So they're completely fine going into January. I do not feel that Jana and I are completely fine going into January because we need a fourth shot. Now, can we just walk in and try to get a fourth shot? I don't know. But there was a doctor this morning on the news who is old and very smart. He's my favorite doctor, William somebody. And he said he and his wife got the fourth shot. Now, he's a doctor and he has access and he can probably get any amount of shots that he wants to get, which would be great. But I don't know what that means for regular people. And do we get a fourth Pfizer shot or do we get a Moderna shot? That's something I don't know. I sort of think it would be interesting to mix it up with Moderna. But I have a very smart pharmacist who takes very good care of us, and he'll know exactly what to do. If it comes down to that, who knows? We can always hope. Now, sometimes we get really interesting news that pops up in our inbox, or someone sends us something and asks us to comment on it. And this is one of those times, which I find wonderful. The toilet paper wars. Now, I don't even understand why this is a war, because there really is only one way to present your toilet paper. Do you put your toilet paper under, or do you put your toilet paper over? So somebody set this up in some public bathroom, a poll. Vote with your own bum. Over or under, which side wins? And over wins, of course, because it's the only way. And it's very clear why. 2 reasons. One, if there's a design on the toilet paper, you cannot see it when the design is facing the wall. Secondly, when you go to get the toilet paper, your hand is coming near the filthy wall. And when you pull it off, there is some threat of the toilet paper touching the filthy wall as well. But if it's over, it's all coming at you. No filthy wall touching. I don't know which side you're on. I'm fascinated by the people who say that under is the proper way. Most people I talk to say, I don't care. When I'm in that situation, I just want the toilet paper, and I want to go away as fast as possible. And I agree, there are some people who live their lives that way. I try to live my life a little bit more carefully and with an aesthetic, and with a general philosophy of how things should work and why things don't work. Toilet paper might be one of those things that matters without really mattering. Now, chess in the United States exploded in popularity during the pandemic. People were locked at home, nothing to do, play video games, or you can really interact with another person and play them in an online game of chess. And if you want to get a title, Grandmaster, International Master, lots of different ways you can go to try to increase your capabilities as a chess player. And there are 2 hubs, pretty much, in the United States where you can go and play chess. One of them is in St. Louis. The other one, a lesser one, is in Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, St. Louis is big because they host a lot of the big... If you're going to play an official chess tournament in the United States, it is usually always in St. Louis. They have a very beautiful club there, St. Louis Chess Club. And it's in sort of the middle of the United States, so it's convenient. And if you want to get titled, you have to play in FIDE-approved tournaments with certain amounts of grandmasters, and a lot of grandmasters live in the St. Louis area, so you can play against them and get rating points. If you live far away in the Midwest or somewhere where there aren't a lot of tournaments that are sponsored by FIDE, then you cannot increase your ELO, your points strength. So yesterday, the St. Louis Chess Club sent out this wonderful PDF for free to anybody. And I'm going to put the link right now in chat. St. Louis Chess Club free book. It's I guess they call it a book. But I'll show you what it looks like. So now it's there in chat. You can click on that later and download it if you want. And it's free. Learn to read and write chess. And this is for kids. Who's a kid? Everybody who doesn't play chess yet is a kid. Amateur, we could say. So it's from the Sinkfelds, who created and owned the St. Louis Chess Club. Very rich family. Many chess players cannot read or write chess. It's a barrier to getting better at chess, but it's not hard to learn. The 4 steps to learn are chess piece letters, chess board locations, special types of chess moves, and combining A to C to write and read game moves. So this shows you what all of the pieces are and what they do, how you write the name of the piece, what a chessboard looks like, and what the names of these certain squares are, B8, C8, D8. So it's very specific. It teaches you how to set up a chessboard, where the positions are, what kind of moves. So if you've been thinking about wanting to play chess, this is a good place to start. It's old school, it's paper, you print this stuff out, right? This is it. You can print out a chessboard, you can print out the pieces, you don't have to buy anything, and you just put it all together. And you set up how the pieces move, what they look like on the screen. There you go, Dora. Great, maybe you'll learn. And if you learn well, there are some wonderful places to play, which I'll show you in a moment. So you can play chess with a partner, you can replay your game. So you don't have to have any money. You do sort of have to have access to a printer, I suppose, or someone can print it out for you. But this is for kids who want to get into it, and maybe they don't have support at home, or they don't have an internet connection, and they want to play chess. And this shows you how to notate your games, and wonderful quotes. So here's a great place to play and learn chess on your own. lichess.org. Lichess.org. Lichess means libre chess, free chess. And they had a big tournament yesterday to win 1 Bitcoin, which is worth, what, I don't know, $25,000 now, $30,000. All the top players were there. 2-hour tournament. And of course, after an hour of playing, all of their servers crashed. And Hikaru Nakamura was in the lead by 16 games, and is he winning? Is he losing? They're not saying. Which is very sad. However, Lichess is terrific because it is 100% free. You can get a game. People are very kind to each other. It's a good place to learn. They have puzzles. You can play against a computer if you don't want to play against people. You can practice. You have chess basics. This is the electronic version of what I just showed you from the St. Louis Chess Club. And we'll talk about that just a little bit more, but right now, it's time for a blood pressure break. I'll see you in a moment. And we are back from break. Thank you for being here. I'm David Boles. This is Boles, BOLES.TV. You can email me at david@boles.tv. If you have any ideas or any feedback. If you want to get a hold of Jana Marie, ask her a question, ask a deaf person, you can go ahead and email her, Jana, at boles.tv. So before we move on, I just want to have one last look at lichess, and also show you chess.com, just because we're having a conversation about it, and how they teach you how to play, and the fundamentals, and intermediate, and advanced. So we'll look at something together. Let's go. Identify the opponent's undefended pieces and capture them. So this is how lichess teaches you how to play chess. Okay, now isn't that cute? There's a rook. It shows you how the rook moves. Take the black pieces. Okay. Aha, very positive. I like feedback. And then we go this way. Bing bong. And now so we got 3 stars. Now it's showing us how I can take the black pieces with my queen. I can go straight up and take the pawn. I can go diagonally and take the rook. So we'll take the pawn first. Oh, my puzzle failed because I did it in the wrong order. If I had taken the rook first, then I could have taken the pawn. This is called learning. So the green arrow means go this way. The red arrow means don't do that. Yay! I like that sound better. And then we go this way. Boom, which was a yellow arrow. Outstanding. Thank you very much. Capture the enemy pieces. Okay, now we're still moving. Take the black pieces and don't lose your pieces. Squares, it's a light-colored bishop. So we can't take this because it's not there. That rook doesn't conglomerate with the rook can't move diagonally and then take the rook that way. Fun. Let's see what happens. Oh yes. Now we have to move again. And we have to be very careful because a pawn is very tricky. Green dots. And as you can see, none of them take a piece that is unprotected. So we know we can't take this pawn. So we have to move somewhere. And we can't, and we better not go here because the same thing will happen. We'll be taken this way. So we probably want to move, I would guess, here. So we can take the knight. Let's see what happens. Well, we didn't get a ding-dong that we did the wrong thing. Now, if we go this way, we're going to be taken. If we go this way, the knight is going to take us. So I do have a feeling that we didn't move far enough. But if we moved here, right, then we would have been taken by the knight here. Now this is getting very interesting. I think we just make a safe move and move like... Let me see. Here. That's probably better. Because the knight can't touch us. And then the next move, we can take the bishop. Okay. So we're safe so far. Now we'll take the bishop. Yes. Ding dong. Now we have to be careful. Because this pawn protects this pawn. And this knight protects that pawn. So, we need to go bing bang this way. And get rid of this knight. Yes. Now we have to be careful. We can't go this way and take that pawn because that pawn's protecting. So, we'll probably just go back here. And then take this pawn from behind. And this pawn from behind as well. Bing bong! Way to go. Woohoo! Capture. Take the black pieces and don't lose yours. Now this is getting interesting. Because we have a knight, and a knight moves very funky. Here are all of the valid moves for the knight. And I cannot lose my pieces. So, we cannot move here, because it'll be taken. It'll be taken. We cannot move here, because it'll be taken. We cannot move here, because it'll be taken. We could move there, but why? No danger. We could move there. Very possible. At least it would be safety. And we could move there, but why? We could move there, but why? Well, this is getting very interesting. So we have to make at least 2 moves to make this work. 1, 2. We'll try this. We'll go this way. See what happens. Okay. So far. Now I think we're going to move here. So, because we're targeting that bishop at the top. We'll see. No one can get us, though, so that's good. Okay. Now we go here, take the bishop. Yeah. And then we go this way, take the queen. Yeah. Now it's getting a little tricky. Because we have to get both of these. And this really isn't very fair, because the other pieces are not moving as we move. So they're just staying in one place, which makes it easier for us to get them. And we're almost done. We won't keep playing, but we'll be tempted to play, because this is a fun learning experience. Here. This gets a little funky here. So we're going to have to pinwheel, like a Ferris wheel, up and around. So we'll go here first, just to see what happens. Okay. And then we could go here, and then here. Doesn't do us any good. Go here. Doesn't really do us any good. Go here. Now this could take a long time, because I'm thinking out loud with you while I'm doing this. And it's not going well. Okay, we'll go this way. And then we can get this. And then we get this. And we've won the game. Thank you so much. I appreciate this. I'm not adding this music. It's part of lichess. Stage 7 complete. My score, I did not get... Oh. Because that one wrong move with the rook. That's why I didn't get 3 stars. Well, I could do the whole thing again. But I'm not going to. And very briefly, we're not spending any time here. I'm just showing you what's going on. This is chess.com. Chess.com is probably the king of chess places where you play. And you can play online. You can. I think I'm logged out. Your preferred language. Oh, login. Oh, I changed my username. That's what's going on. Thank you, Dora. I appreciate your support and your patience. I know that this can be a little tedious. But just to briefly show you, this is what chess.com looks like. And this is me. I changed my username from Boles Books to Boles TV. I wonder why. On lichess, unfortunately, you cannot change your username once you put it in there. It's a database thing, which is really unfortunate because some people don't like their username. Some people have a live stream and they want to change their live stream to match their username. Chess.com allows you to change your username. Lichess doesn't, and even if you delete your account and start a new account with the username you want to use, you get in trouble for that because it looks like you're sandbagging. Now, chess.com is where all the big names play. They pay them a lot of money, and they charge you a lot of money. It's about $100 a year to be on chess.com at their highest level for puzzles and access and all their videos. Whereas Lichess is 100% completely free. You can donate if you want to Lichess. And I have and I do. As you can tell by my beautiful wings, that means I'm a donor. And then there's always Chessable, as you know, which is a wonderful place to really learn how to play chess. And they have some free books, and some you pay for, and some you work on, and some you watch. So, there we go. That's our chess spiel for the day. Now, the other day we talked about TweetDeck, and there's one thing I forgot to show you. TweetDeck is where you just log in online via desktop, and you get all of this information streaming at you in a non-stop barrage of information. And it's really wonderful if you're working or if you need to keep in touch with a hot topic. But we didn't send a tweet. So now we're going to send a tweet via TweetDeck and see how that works. What's happening? Well, why is this not working? Okay, it takes a little while to warm up. What's happening? This is very slow. I don't know what's going on. We're here in the live Boles.tv stream and checking out the new TweetDeck and loving it. And then you can attach an image if you want to, and maybe I will. I'll get rid of this and I'll attach an image instead. No, I don't want to. Not that. Oh, this is very slow today. Okay, there we go. So I dragged and dropped an image, which is, want to try out the new TweetDeck? And I said, okay, sure, why not? We are here in the live Boles.tv stream and checking out the new TweetDeck. I'm loving it. Whoops. Sent from the new TweetDeck. Boing. And then we send tweet. And we wait, remember, because we give ourselves a timeout so we can recall this message. Okay, good. Your tweet was sent. And how do we find out if the tweet was sent? I should have clicked on that before it disappeared. We'll go to profile. Oh, there it is. It updated for us. We are here at Live Boles TV stream, checking out the new TweetDeck. I'm loving it. Sent from the new TweetDeck. Oh boy, fun. Okay, right? That's how you have fun. That's fun on the internet. Another thing I received in the mail yesterday was this. I had no idea. Did you know you can become a friend of the Library of Congress? I did not know this. It's kind of a neat thing. And of course, they want your money. It's the holidays. You get all kinds of stuff in the mail. Yes, oh, we would love for you to come back and give us information about you. So I did. I joined at the $50 reader limit. And here's the best part about it. If you click on Donate Now, and it tells you you can be a reader, you get a subscription to a monthly e-letter, which I like. 10% discount, a Library of Congress gift shop. I didn't even know they had a gift shop. $100 writer, you get a subscription. Now, I think all of these are better at the higher end. The bibliophile for $1,000 if you live in Washington, D.C. But if you don't, click on Donate Now, whatever you want to support. And then here's where it gets really fun. You can select where you want your money to go. Do you want it to go to James Madison Council Fund? The American Folk Life Center? Hispanic Division? Law Library? The Poet Laureate Circle? The World Digital Library? I believe I picked this. Motion Picture Broadcasting and Recorded Sound. And I went bing bang. Took 2 seconds for them to take my money. They gave it back. Not the money, but they gave me a printed out receipt, which was very nice. Hand-signed email. So I guess I can deduct it from our taxes if I want to. But there you go. Library of Congress. Support reading and writing. I wanted to get to this yesterday, but I didn't make it. And I didn't want to push it because it's so fabulously fantastic and odd. About how a high-fiber diet can help you fight melanoma. And melanoma is skin cancer. And as we know, I've had several bouts with skin cancer. Nothing serious, I don't think. But they've all been burned off of me over the last couple of years. And so far, I'm still here. Our study sheds light on the potential side effects of a patient's diet and supplement use when starting treatment with immune checkpoint blockade. These results provide further support for clinical trials to modulate the microbiome, with a goal of improving cancer outcomes using dietary and other strategies. Microbiome is your gut health, probiotics, fiber. And this is one of the first things that I've really seen that's directly related to health and cancer by improving your health and your cancer resistance by what you eat. Melanoma patients who reported eating more fruits, vegetables, legumes, and whole grains met the study's threshold for sufficient fiber intake. And fiber is very important because it helps push the poop out of you. That's what fiber does. Bulk. The 37 patients with sufficient fiber intake had improved progression-free survival, median not reached, compared to the 91 patients with insufficient fiber intake. Every 5-gram increase of daily fiber intake was associated with a 30% lower risk of cancer progression or death. Eat your fiber and you won't die of cancer. Seems to be what this is suggesting. When patients were further grouped according to high or low fiber diet and commercially available probiotic supplement use, response to immunotherapy was seen in 18 of 22 patients, 82%, who reported both sufficient fiber intake and no probiotic use, compared to the response seen in 60 of 101, 59% of patients who either reported insufficient fiber intake or probiotic use. Response was defined as complete or partial tumor shrinkage, or stable disease for at least 6 months. Probiotic use alone was not associated with a significant difference in progression-free survival or odds of response to immunotherapy. So they're saying don't just take a probiotic pill. That's not enough. You got to take the fiber too. You got to eat your fruits and vegetables, high fiber diet, and have a probiotic to help that. Dietary fiber is important to gut health, just as it is important for overall health, and the two things are very tightly intertwined. In this study, we saw that dietary fiber also may be important to cancer treatment, which brings us to a point where we can design interventional studies to answer the questions that patients really want answered. Does what I eat now matter, and could it impact my treatment outcome? We are united in working to find answers for our patients. So this was focusing on melanoma. But the greater question is if people have cancer and we change their diets, can we get them to heal faster? Can we get their tumors to reduce? And the early answer appears to be yes. And it's what we were taught very early and very often as young people. You are what you eat. And maybe you heal what you eat. And on that note, we're taking a small blood pressure break. We will resume in a moment. And we are back from break. I am David Boles, and this is Boles.tv, our live stream, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern, and on weekends with Jana, 11 a.m., Ask a Deaf Person. Now, as part of a public service announcement, I'm going to make a very brief personal note about something. I'm going to show you something that's very dangerous. Yes. Trader Joe's soft black licorice twists. That's what they look like. And they're very delicious. Now, this is the black licorice version. We had a red licorice version as well. I believe it was strawberry. And all this printing was red instead of black. It was here as of yesterday evening. And somehow, the soft strawberry Trader Joe's licorice disappeared. I may have been the last person to see it. I'm not sure. It was dark in the room. And this bag appears to have been opened. And appears to be at least half eaten, and the day is not over yet. And I do admit to being the keeper of this bag. And the warning is, by 2 p.m., 4 hours from now, this bag of Trader Joe's soft black licorice twists will also be disappeared. I would love to blame Jana Marie for this missing twist. But she's not here. And she was in bed last night when they disappeared. I'm not admitting anything. I'm just giving you a warning. They're very delicious. They're very soft. The licorice is very light. The strawberry is better. They do not stick to your teeth. They are not healthy for you. 4 pieces are 100 calories. Very delicious. You have been warned, my Boles TV friend. It was a wonderful evening. And you only wish you had more. Next on our agenda, taxonomy. Oh, it sounds so boring. And I hope it's not, but we're going to find out. This bumped into my inbox the other day about this new Zoom thing, not Zoom thing, but this new on Zoom thing, where you can kind of, through the magic of your web browser, page back through the annals of time and find out how life began via species. Fascinating. The leaves of this taxonomy represent each species. The tree are color-coded, depending on their risk of extinction. Green for not threatened, red for threatened, and black for recently extinct. Most of the leaves on the tree are gray, meaning that they have not been evaluated, or scientists don't have enough data to know their extinction risk. Even among the species described by science, only a tiny fraction have been studied or have been a known risk of extinction. So they've created this Google Earth of biology. What does this mean? And here we go. Very technical. We're going to get through it together. Taxonomic classifications, such as those provided by the NCBI, may include non-molecular groups such as fish or bacteria, and indeed many genera are also non-biophyletic. So this is, I'm not reading all of this, this is the explanation of what we're about to see and explore together. And that happens to be this wonderful thing. And for some reason, it's not a secure site. I don't know why. Here's the link in chat, so you can explore this later on your own. But it's this, they call it the Tree of Life Explorer. And all of that mumbo-jumbo that I just shared with you, what these scientists did, all of that goes over your head and puts you to sleep and makes you yearn for the sugar of a Trader Joe's licorice, brings you to this page. And this is what they're talking about, where you can explore things that are going on in the world in this Tree of Life. So let's click and see what happens. Excuse me. Opens up a new window. Takes a while. It's a little slow. And this is this piece of the Tree of Life. Do you want to learn about octopods? Yes, I do. So you go over here, and you click on the octopods, and it gets even closer. Caribbean reef octopus. And they have very formal names. Remember, red, gray, green, all of these leaf colors have meaning. And then you can click on octopus, Caribbean reef octopus. Okay, we click on it again. Oh, and it takes us to a Wikipedia page. Wonderful. And it explains what it is and what it's doing here. Okay, I'm all for that. And then we can zoom out. Go to a different part of the tree. Let's see how far back we can zoom. See how far it will take us. Oh, the tree's getting much larger. And this is all interactive. Now, can you imagine when we were kids if we had something like this where we could just click on something and find out a million things? I'd be so much smarter today if I had this 30 years ago. And the Tree of Life is expanding. It's getting larger and larger, and I'm getting loster and loster. But that's okay. That's why we're here together. We want to see what the tree looks like. Oh. Now we're getting closer because we have all life as part of the tree. Ooh, look at that. Can we zoom out any farther? No. How can you go out any farther than all of life? What should we click on? I don't know. We'll click on this. Very interesting. Let's look at a little ladybug and see where if that takes us somewhere. 7-spotted ladybird, excuse me. With the proper name. And it takes us to a Wikipedia page. I just love that. Everybody loves the Wikipedia. And then we can get out of it again. Or we can reset the whole view. Now that sounds interesting. What does that do? Ah, it takes us right back to the beginning. And we click again. 56,000 species of bacteria. Well, let's see what kind of bacteria we have. Bacterium PB 90-2. Well, what is that? I don't know. Clicky? Oh, nah. This does not go to Wikipedia. This goes to NCBI page. Bacterium PB 90-2. Not to be confused with PB 90-3. And what is it? We don't know. It's just a bacterium. Nucleotide 1, taxonomy 1. Fair enough. Search all of life. Oh, look at that. Let's go to human. What's that gonna do? I spent about an hour with this the other day. I just couldn't get enough. You're being propelled through time. It's a time machine in your web browser. So where are we humans in all of this? Oh, we came out of the Tree of Life. Now we're going into the Tree of Life. Oh, we're going into fungi, animals. Oh, vertebrae. Oh. When is it going to stop? Oh, there we are. Homo sapiens. Well, that was fun. Going in and out and back in again. I do consider that time travel. Click Wikipedia. Humans. Oh, it's long and sad. A long and sad story. Everything we touch, we destroy. That's the history of the people. Let's do another search. Let's look for mushrooms. Where's that gonna... Oh, we're going on another journey. We're going out. Going out. Taxonomy all around us. Where are we on this Tree of Life? Oh, we're going back up this way. Closer and closer. Where the wheel spins, nobody knows. Well, this is, I guess, the general mushroom page. We'll click on this one and see where it takes us. Okay. Oh, look at all these different places we can click on. No common name. Fair enough. Get out of that one. So click on things that have a picture. The picture must be being pulled from Wikipedia. Click on a photograph. Nothing's happening. Click on another photograph. Oh, you just keep going down and down. I love this drilling down. Talk about getting specific. Boles. Carminipes. Not many people know that was my street name growing up. And this is Wikipedia. It's a fungus in the family native to the United States. Officially described in 1971. Not that old. Fewer than 50 years old. And it's a whole new kind of fungus. We're very happy to meet you. So there you go. That's one Zoom. Absolutely delicious. And that was fun. That was learning. That was educational. And on that note, oh boy. Now we get into it. I'm putting this also in chat. This is a study from pen.org. It's a fantastical, disruptive, and infuriating report from PEN America, a writers group, on educational gag orders. Now, who would think that was a thing? Oh, our kids are learning too much. They're getting too smart. We have to dumb them down. And we just can't tell them, don't go there, because they'll go there. We have to block their access to new information. It's censorship. We've talked about it before here on the Boles.tv live stream. And here we go again. And I can't read this whole thing because it's too upsetting. And it goes on for pages and pages and pages and pages. But here's the general idea that you need to be aware of. And then go click on that link that I put in chat, and you can read this whole thing yourself and become very upset like me. And this is so recent, it's just outrageous. Between January and September of this year, 24 state legislatures across the United States introduced 54 separate bills intended to restrict teaching and training in K-12 schools, higher education, and state agencies and institutions. And they do that by withholding money. You teach this, we're taking away your money. The majority of these bills target discussions of race, racism, gender, and American history, banning a series of prohibited or diverse concepts for teachers and trainers operating in K-12 schools, public universities, public funding, and workplace settings. These bills appear designed to chill academic and educational discussions and impose government dictates on teaching and learning. In short, they are educational gag orders. You just can't believe you're reading this, and this is America? This is the land of the free? Well, it's the land of the free up to a point, as long as you go along, but the second you disagree with those in power, well, then maybe we're not going to let you talk so much. Maybe we're not going to let you learn so much. And they talk about CRT, critical race theory, but it's much more than that. It goes much deeper than that. These bills will have and are already having tangible consequences for both American education and democracy, both distorting the lens through which the next generation will study American history and society, and undermining the hallmarks of liberal education that have set the U.S. system apart from those of authoritarian countries. In a very short time, we have already seen the chilling effects of this kind of legislation, which has been used to justify suspending a sociology course on race and ethnicity in Oklahoma, providing professors at Iowa State University written guidance for how to avoid drawing scrutiny for their teaching under the state's act, instructing teachers that they should balance having books on the Holocaust with those with opposing views of the Holocaust in Texas, and challenging the teaching of civil rights activist Ruby Bridges' autobiographical picture book about school desegregation in Tennessee. And it goes on, and it discusses the bills. And this is something we need to know as we move into presidential elections. With only one exception, these bills, these restrictive teaching bills, have been influenced by U.S. Senator Tom Cotton's Saving American History Act, former President Trump's 2020 executive order on combating race and sex and stereotyping, or conservative lawyer Stanley Kurtz's Partisanship Out of Civics Act. 42 bills have a clear antecedent in Trump's executive order, with most of them including a list of prohibited diverse concepts related to race and sex and stereotyping that mirror the executive order's language, though there is some variation among the bill's listed concepts. "11 bills explicitly prohibit schools from using materials from the New York Times' 1619 Project, a journalistic and historical examination of the modern impact of slavery in the United States. 6 bills prohibit private funding for curricula in public schools, which, given the context in which they were developed and introduced, appears similarly aimed at blocking specific educational materials that deal with racial justice and sexism." So even though these things happened, be quiet about it. We don't want to hear about it. Status of educational gag orders as of October 1st, 2021. Public schools, 48 introduced, 9 passed, 17 failed, 22 pending. Universities, 21 passed, 21 introduced, 3 passed, 6 failed, 12 pending. State agencies, 19 introduced, 6 passed, 5 failed, 8 pending. Total, 54 introduced, 11 passed, 19 failed, 24 pending. And we're just starting this. Section 1, from presidential rhetoric to Republican policy. They talk about the 1619 Project. Oh, they're upset about that. They just really don't like it. They talk about Trump's executive order to quash all of that. They discuss critical race theory. What is it? Why is it? We discussed that briefly yesterday. Section 2, state-level legislature efforts to impose educational gag orders, and how that's going, and the effect they're having, and the successes that they're having in targeting schools and colleges and state agencies. You go our way, or you don't go any way at all. Section 3, critical race theory is a political boogeyman, Baba Yaga, from John Wick. Now, how history and what happened can be dangerous, I don't quite understand it. Section 4, why these bills are so concerning. They represent an effort to impose content and viewpoint-based censorship. And it's very well written. These bills will have a chilling effect on the speech of educators and trainers. Well, you can talk about this, but you can't talk about that. These bills are based on a misrepresentation of how intellectual frameworks are taught and threaten to constrain educators' abilities to teach a wide variety of subjects. And it starts in kindergarten. How do you expose your kids to these ideas? I guess you have to do it at home. Many of these bills are misleadingly framed as protecting free speech and academic inquiry, when their purpose in effect is to do just the opposite. Of course we know that. George Orwell taught us that in 1984. And they gaslight us, they flip it around. Oh, no, this is about freedom. But I can't read this. Right, that's your freedom to not read it. We've decided for you. There are also constitutional concerns and judicial review. There are prohibitions on training of students and teachers. There are prohibitions now on curricula and content in K through 12 schools. Prohibitions on academic freedom in higher education. It used to be you could go to college and be exposed to a wide variety of different point of views. Not that you had to listen to any of them or abide them, but they were available to you for your personal evaluation. Not anymore. Now the state knows better. Legal battle in Arizona? The conclusion of all of this? If the troubling legislative trends these bills represent is not stopped and reversed, the underpinnings of the constitutional right of freedom of speech and our concomitant freedom of thought will be weakened. It is impossible to reconcile support for the First Amendment with support for these bills, which are uniformly exercises in censorship. If the widespread campaign against critical race theory does indeed prove a winning political issue in the 2022 election, we can expect similar campaigns in the next election cycles, an emboldening of censorship to constrict even broader areas of public debate. For these reasons, it is imperative that all Americans concerned about our constitutional rights and civil liberties immediately and resolutely oppose these educational gag orders and push to repeal the wrong-headed laws that have already been passed. So there you have it. Exhausting. And that's the point of this. The other side wants to exhaust you, the good, open, free thinkers. They want you to get tired of fighting. There are a lot of them. They're emboldened by the fight. They love to harass. They love to quiet. They love to tell you how to think and how to feel. And it's dangerous and disparaging, and we must continue to fight for freedom and access to information, and to have a conversation like we're having now. Then who knows? Maybe one day soon, this sort of conversation we're having, a two-way conversation about freedom and liberty and what should be taught and what should not be taught, might be outlawed. No, don't talk about that. If you talk about that, we're going to have to investigate you. And that includes all of you and your friends and your family, and we're going to get a list of who's watching you, and we're going to talk to them and find out why they're watching you. These are all warnings to stand up before it's too late. Stand up for the Constitution. Stand up for freedom of speech. Stand up for your right to be heard. And with that, we will take one more blood pressure break. I will see you momentarily. Thank you for being here. We're back on Boles.tv. I'm David Boles. Status update. Warning. The Trader Joe's soft black licorice twists are still available. They have not yet been consumed. Probably because I left them on my desk when I took my break. But don't worry. The end is nigh. I didn't say that, though. I'm predicting. So here's a very interesting story that I bumped into. It's just fascinating, and we had a conversation about this too, maybe a week ago. Our friend Doris said, what do I do with all my VHS copies? What do I do with my VHS machines that I don't know what to do with? And I said, I don't know what to do with anything. I think we should all keep everything and never throw things away. Well, there's a video store in Nebraska. Excuse me. Still getting hot boxed. That is still around. 33,000 movies for rent, VHS, plus another 30,000 video games. Most are on DVD, but if you still have your VCR, he's got you covered with 7,400 titles on VHS. And even has movies on beta, which flopped. And this is the Call Video store in Nebraska. I believe it's Norfolk, Nebraska. Yeah. A little small, tiny little town. In the middle of nowhere. And for years, he's just stayed open and tried to make some money. And he's getting ready to close because nobody wants VHS anymore. And the reason he was successful for so long is because he is in the middle of nowhere. And people don't have any money, and people can't afford internet. But they want to watch a movie. So they go to him, and they get a copy of a movie, go home and watch it. And we'd have a subscription service. And now people have internet. And so why do they need a video store? Nobody knows. Logan's father, Gary, started renting Betamax tapes as a sideline to his antenna and satellite business. He sold annual memberships for $100 and mailed tapes to out-of-town customers, just like Netflix. After Gary Logan died in 1992, Logan acquired his dad's tapes. He walked away from his day job in a minus 20-degree Fahrenheit ice cream freezer to a local dairy. In 1999, he opened a new storefront in a block south of downtown Norfolk. Last 27 years behind the counter of his own store. So this is what the store looks like with these old, faded VHS machines. It's a time machine of sorts. This is the facade of the store where he had an artist draw the stars of the movies on the front of his store. It's now chipped away. The stucco is chipped away. It's really a sad story of where we are and who we've been. And here's the saddest part. Last year, Small of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, returned to Norfolk with a friend who had never set foot in a video store before. Afterward, he went home and built a Facebook page for the social media challenged Logan, the guy who runs the store. And he bought Facebook ads for Logan's store and brainstormed a $10 a month pricing option. If just 1,000 people did the monthly deal, Chris would be doing great. The place is a landmark. It should be a tourist attraction. Now, where are you going to get 1,000 people to cough up $10 a month to rent a VHS movie. I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's really realistic. And Norfolk, Nebraska is Norfolk. People who don't know call it Norfolk. But it's more of the Norfolk. Is how the locals pronounce it. Not trying to be dirty. They don't pronounce the L. A lot of people tell me they hate to see it go, but if you don't use it, you're gonna lose it. If Logan closes, he'll miss his customers. He enjoys helping people. The title at a time. He's 61. Weekends free. He'd probably hit the flea markets to sell his movies and games. Plus, he'd have more time to maintain the 4 houses he owns in Norfolk. Yes, of course. All of his houses are rentals. And that got me thinking about this, which actually fell out of the bookcase yesterday. Boom. Now this is just like a VHS movie. Floppy disks. Now, do you see this? This is the gold foil seal, meaning super duper high quality. What's inside? Oh, look at this. Now, young people have no idea what this is. These are all of my old plays. Hello. I can see you. And you put this into a computer. And it would read and write. It would spin this, and it would read and write here through this window, magnetically, and it records what you write, your plays. This is Stone's Throw. Yeah? Old? July 14, 1985. I don't even know if there's anything on here anymore. I've saved it. Why? Why does Dora save her VHS movies? I don't know. Because we can. So this is the history of who I am. On these big, I call them floppy disks. Weaving Water Cafe. Remember Me. I don't even know what that is. Remember Me 1 and 2 must have been sort of important. NETV, The Magnificent Loser, William Jennings Bryan's story, right? Poems, short stories. It's all here. It's all my whole life from the 1980s. Yes. And why are you saving it? I don't know. What does it look like? What are you trying to save? I'll show you. That's the machine. The K-Pro 2X. This goes right into that machine. And it's very loud. Whack, whack, whack. Whack, 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 whack. Is what it sounded like. And it was very terrifying, because if this didn't zap right or sound right and got stuck or made noise, then everything you'd been working on was lost. So you'd have backup after backup after backup after backup, because the RAM in that machine was what they call volatile, meaning that if you lost power or if something happened, it was lost forever. And I think right on to the right of that computer is my, oh, to the left, yeah, is my dot matrix printer, which was very loud as well, but every time I would finish a page, I would print it out. I'd finish a page and print it out. So these kooky people who have this wonderful nostalgia for typewriters have no idea what it was like being a writer and having to retype an entire page instead of just going into your computer and zip-zapping, making a change and reprinting it. It takes 10 seconds compared to 5-10 minutes to retype an entire page. Or use a lot of whiteout. Oh my goodness, a fan. Such a good-looking guy. Oh boy, where have you been all my life? Thank you. I have many floppy disks. I dropped the cover. Put it all back together. These were also certified error-free. I believe these were 5.5. I can't tell. They're big though. Then they had smaller ones that went into IBM machines. I have some of those too. I'll show you those someday too. That you do. Jana Marie, where have you been all day? Well, I guess the strong are saying nothing. But the guilty are speaking now. You missed the conversation. Nobody admitted to eating anything. There was only the report of who last had the strawberry licorice. Oh no. I confess nothing. Almost gone. They do tend to clump together. And when they clump together, there are some around me who think that this is a sign from the greater universe that they belong together and they need to be removed together. Now it's time to move on to the big story of the day, sex dolls and stolen identities. I know you've been waiting all morning for this story. And so have I. And we're almost at the end of our stream, but our end of our stream is when we decide. We could go until 4 p.m. today. Who would know? We have the licorice twist to get us there. Oh, there she goes. She's leaving. Bye, love. Now, if you can hear that dog barking, that is our neighbor's dog barking through 2 solid walls of cinder block. Goes crazy about twice a day. Nobody seems to care except me. Especially when I'm live streaming. I don't know why the dog is so upset. It could be because Trader Joe's licorice twists have gone missing. It's a big problem in the neighborhood. So sometimes you get things in your inbox from PR companies, and you're reading it and you're wondering, why was this sent to me? Why is this being promoted? Why does this person want attention? And sometimes you read about it a little bit, and sometimes you just kind of throw it away. Well, this one was kind of interesting because it has to do with an Israeli model and sex and Playboy and real dolls and whatever, and identification and identity and sexuality. Well, who can resist that? Especially at the end of a stream, when you're dying to have a Trader Joe's licorice twist. So here's the story. Top Israeli model and former software engineer in the IDF, the Israel Defense Force. Hello, thank you for following, Fruit Roll-Up. And social media superstar, Yale Cohen Aris, is truly a one-of-a-kind star in the making. Having already amassed 2 million followers across all major social media platforms, Yale is ready to use her voice and platform to empower women and shatter stereotypes within her industry, after having her visuals and identity, including her name, unjustly stolen and used by a sex toy manufacturer in Asia. We would love to arrange an interview with you and Yale to discuss all of her current projects, including her fiery career as an influencer, her entrepreneurial aspirations of having blah, 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 blah. So that's how this PR pitch began. Okay, I'm interested. So I click around and I click through and I read and I look, and the whole thing is very bizarre. And here's the next thing I found. An article that was written about what happened. About a year ago, Cohen received a message from one of her followers. It linked to a forum about sex dolls, and when she clicked it, she was met with an eerily familiar face. Her own. The thread was started by the doll's maker, and it described a new model of sex doll head coming soon. And this one was a rough prototype. Cohen brushed it off as a coincidence. Then, months later, she received another DM direct message. This time, there was no mistaking it. The link showed the final doll. Although its likeness to Cohen is subjective, its inspiration is not. It shares her first name, and in some pictures sports an ombre wig similar to one Cohen sometimes uses in her posts. In case there was any doubt, the doll's creator proudly explained, Yale is inspired by this beautiful lady, with links to several of Cohen's Instagram pictures. How will she satisfy your great fantasy? He asked. The forum users subsequently explained, in glorious and sticky detail, just how they might. Okay. The story continues. Cohen knows that anyone who buys Yale, the sex doll version, can do whatever they want to her, the sex doll, whenever they want with the sex doll, and there's no DMCAA takedown notice to stop it. If I wanted to have nudes, I would have nudes, she says. If I wanted to have a sex doll, I would have a sex doll. They took my choice away. It's sort of forcing me to show my body naked. Owners of these dolls frequently share their exploits on the forums. Sexual activity is usually only implied, bar the odd discussion about the merits of a built-in versus a removable vagina, or about accurate anus placement in the sex doll. The bulk of what owners share is painfully pedestrian. Photo sets depict Yale shopping or maybe enjoying a day in the garden. Sometimes these innocent scenarios seem more invasive, as though some took a piece of Cohen's soul and forced her to live with them in their fantasy world. Sex dolls made in the likeness of real people are not new. The difference here is that Cohen is not a porn star. She was never approached by the company, she never gave her consent, and she receives precisely nothing from any of the sales. Okay. So, as we learned, Yale is ready to use her voice and platform to empower women and shatter stereotypes within her industry. So here is Yale, shattering stereotypes within her industry. Not a sex doll, doesn't want to have a sex doll, wants to shatter stereotypes about women in industry, wants to stand up for women, wants to show what women can do. She's not a sex doll. I guess she's saying in these images that she is sexual, but she is not a sex doll. So I do find the whole thing kind of strange. I'm not exactly sure what we're promoting here, or what the outrage is. Is the outrage that there's a sex doll she's not getting paid for? Is the outrage that there's a sex doll that looks like her but is not her, that she wants to be compensated for, or doesn't want confusion? The whole thing seems to be a little bit of a mishmash. And while they say, you know, hey, come and interview her, have a conversation, I don't know if she would like to have a conversation about this. Because it seems to me there's a little bit of a split here between what's upsetting her and the reality of what she's presenting to the world as her alternate take on life. It's all a little strange. So some people, I think, just like attention, like to be outraged for things that concern them. And sometimes the whole thing just doesn't make sense. The Streisand effect. Why are you calling attention to this unless you want people to go look up your sex doll? Or look at your face and apply it to a sex doll and talk about you as a sex doll and then look you up on Instagram and see how you're changing stereotypes and how you're maybe making the world a better place. And that is the world in which we spin and in which we try to live every day, right here on Boles.tv, as we try to give definition, meaning, form, and context to the human condition. Sometimes we understand it, sometimes we have no idea what's going on. But we come here and we try to have a conversation about it and figure out which way is up. And try to avoid from going down the wrong hole. And with that, we have come to the end of this stream. I will see you tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, every weekday right here on Boles.tv, Boles.tv. Email me, david@boles.tv. Email the Jana Marie. Ask her about the missing licorice. Who was the last person who saw it, and whose hand was it being held? She's Jana@Boles.tv. If you're on Twitter, David Boles, username. Facebook, regular old Boles, Boles. Instagram, Boles Books. YouTube, we have a presence there. Growing each day, moment by moment. Boles Blues. YouTube.com/Boles Blues. Boom. You're right there where you want to be. And we had a wonderful conversation today. We're going to have even more interesting things to discuss tomorrow and the day after that. But for now, I thank you so much. Take care, be well, and I will see you again